Hi guys, so in this video what we're going to do is we're going to look at the slope of a line. Again, this is building upon what you did at junior cert, so I'm just going to run through a few very basic premises before we go through a couple of examples. So if you have a look here, the slope of a line, you can see there's all sorts of different slopes, and slope is essentially how steep something is. So if a slope has a value of 0, that means that there's no slope, and what we have here is we just have a flat line on the horizontal. And then as we increase the slope, so we've got m is equal to a half here, m is equal to 1, m is equal to 2, you can see the slopes are getting more and more steep. Now notice that they're all positive, so that means from left to right we are going up, and if we are going down slope, i.e. a negative, what we have here, m is equal to minus a half, that means that we are going down, as in down slope. Okay, again, notice that m is equal to minus 1 and m is equal to minus 2 will give us a more steep slope. Okay, so how do we calculate the slope? Well, we normally give it the letter m, and you can see here it's equal to tan of theta, which is equal to the opposite of the adjacent, which is equal to the rise over the run, which is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay guys, so there's lots and lots there. Essentially, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if we've got two coordinates, then for example here we've got x1, y1, x2, y2 here, then we can work out the gradient or the slope by doing y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. It is essentially Pythagoras. Right, let's move on. So given the equation of the line, because we've got two ways to write the equation of the line, we should know this by now, that y is equal to mx plus c. Remember, for y is equal to mx plus c, so y is equal to mx plus c. Remember, m there is your slope or your gradient. And we also know for c is where what's called the y-intercept happens. So that tells us where it crosses the y-axis. So to give you an example of that, let's just have a quick look on the side here. If I said to you, I had an equation y is equal to 2x plus 3. We can quickly sketch this. The 2 here is in front of the x, so this is the slope. And the plus 3 here is the y-intercept. Okay, so that's the y-intercept. So I now know, just from those two bits of information, that the slope is positive, which means it's going upwards, and that it crosses the y-axis, and remember the y-axis is this one, okay, crosses it at 3. So I know it's going to go through the point 3 there, and it's going to look something like that. Now, another way we can write the equation of the line is where we stick everything all onto one side. So we have ax plus by plus c here is equal to 0. So this is not quite the same as y is equal to mx plus c. So everything is all on one side of the equal sign. And if that's the case, the slope is given by m is equal to minus a over b. So I'll just give you an example of that. If we had 2x plus 3y plus 6 is equal to 0, that's of the form ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, and we're told that the m, or the slope, the gradient, m is equal to minus a over b. And you can see here, if you have a look, if we do that, you can see that my a is 2 and my b is 3. So this is now going to be equal to minus a, which is 2, over b, which is 3, and that means that my gradient for this particular equation of a line is equal to minus 2/3. Okay, parallel lines. We should know that parallel lines, that the slopes have to be the same, so the slopes are equal. So if we are going to show that two lines are parallel, we have to show that the slopes are the same. So what we've been given here for this example, we've got y is equal to 2x minus 3. So straight away, I know the slope here, so that m is equal to 2. So I'm trying to show for this equation here that the slope is equal to 2. Now there's two ways I can do it. I can either get it of the form y is equal to mx plus c and just see if they're the same. Or what I could do is I could get it of the form ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 and just use the idea of minus a over b is equal to m. I'm going to put the form y is equal to something. So let's have a look. We've got 4x minus 2y is equal to 11. I want y on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2y across to this side, so I've got 2y. And then I'm going to take the 11 across to the other side, so I've got 4x and I've got minus 11. I'm then going to isolate the y, so I need to get y on its own. So I'm going to divide this side by 2, which means I have to divide everything on this side by 2. And if I do that, I end up with 2y divided by 2 is just y is equal to, and you'll see I have 4x divided by 2, which is 2x, and I have minus 11 divided by 2. Now I could put that as a decimal if I wanted to, just going to rearrange it. We've got y is equal to 2x minus, and that's 5.5 if I prefer it as a decimal. Notice again that I now have it of the form y is equal to mx plus something, so y is equal to mx plus some constant. So you can see here that the 2 is equal to the m, and that's the same as this here. Therefore, these two lines are parallel. Okay, so parallel. Okay, one more example for you guys. Perpendicular lines. So if two lines are perpendicular, then the gradient of the first line times the gradient of the second line must be equal to -1. And you'll have been taught that all we need to do here in Junior Cert is, if I have 1, to find the perpendicular, you flip and you multiply and change the sign. Okay, I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is I want you to just use the idea that m1 times m2 is equal to -1. So we've got example 3 here. It says that y is equal to 4x minus 7, and the second line is 8x plus cy is equal to 9. And we've got to try and state the slope of L and express the slope of K in terms of C. So L should be very straightforward, so we can see that what we have here, let's just go to I. So we have y is equal to 4x minus 7. Well, the slope is just that, so m1 is equal to 4. Okay, remember the slope of the form y is equal to mx plus c there. Okay, let's have a look at the second one where we've got 8x plus cy is equal to 9. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the 9 across. So I'm going to get minus 9 here is equal to 0. And I'm going to use the idea, remember, that for this particular where we have of the form ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So remember we have that formula, just put it in red underneath for you, ax plus by plus c is equal to 0, that we know that m, the gradient, is equal to minus a over b. So that means the gradient for this equation, the line that we have is m is equal to minus a, which is 8, over b, which in this case is c, so my m is equal to minus 8 over c. So we're going to call this m2. So we have m1, we have m2, just like we've been asked in the first part of the question. It says if L is parallel to K, find the value of C. So that's not too bad. So if parallel, so if the two lines are parallel, then we know that M1 must equal M2. So all we do now is we set M1, which is here, is equal to M2, and we solve for C. So let's do that now. So what we have here is we have 4, that's M1, is equal to M2, which is minus 8 over C. Okay, we need to get C off the bottom, so we're going to multiply both sides by C. Not a bother. So on the left hand side we have 4C is equal to minus 8, and then we're going to divide both sides by 4, and if we do that, what happens then is we get C is equal to minus 8 divided by 4, which is minus 2. So we've now found the value of C when the two lines are parallel. The last part of the question says, well, what if they're perpendicular? And we've already said, well, if it's perpendicular, what we've got to do is we've got to use this rule at the top here, that m1 times m2 is equal to -1. So let's write that down. So we've got if perpendicular, and that there is the sign for perpendicular. You can see that it makes a nice little right angle. Okay, you don't need that right angle bit, but if perpendicular, we know m1 times m2 must be equal to -1. And again, all we're going to do is we're going to stick in 4 for m1 here, and we're going to stick in -8 over c for m2 and solve the equation that we make. So now what we have is 4 times, and we've got -8 over c is equal to -1. 4 times -8 is -32 divided by c, which is equal to -1. And then we're going to multiply both sides by c, which means we're going to get -32 is equal to -1 times c, which is just -c. And then we're going to divide or multiply by -1 to get c is equal to 32. And we are done.